For most section in history, the goal is pretty simple. Just live longer. But, as we've gotten really, really good at extending our lives, a whole new question has popped up. A much more important one, actually. Yeah, that one kind of hits you, doesn't it? It forces you to stop and think about the difference between the sheer quantity of our years and the quality of those years. And that's the central idea we're going to break down today. All right, so let's get to the heart of it. We're going to unpack two concepts that sound pretty similar, that they actually represent two totally different ways of experiencing our later years. And getting this difference, well, it's the key to the entire future of aging. So on one side, you've got lifespan. That's the easy one, right? It's just the big number, the total years you're on the planet. But on the other side, you've got health span. Now that's the good stuff. Those are the years you're living with energy, with mobility, with a sharp mind. The years you're truly thriving. And here's the kicker. For way too many people, those two numbers do not match up. And that's the big shift you see. The whole conversation around longevity has changed. This isn't about becoming immortal. It's about compressing that period of sickness and decline into the absolute shortest time possible, right at the very, very end. It's about adding vibrant, healthy life to our years. So, what happens when your lifespan starts to pull away from your health span? You get a gap, a period of time where, yeah, you're alive, but you're not really living well. And this gap, it's a lot bigger than you might think. Globally, the average person will spend nearly 10 years of their life dealing with chronic disease and disability. Think about that. That's almost a full decade spent suffering, a decade where life is still happening all around you, but you're not able to fully participate in it. And this quote just nails the old way of thinking versus the new. For so long, medicine has been reactive. It's been waiting for the boat to fill with water before grabbing a bucket. But the healthspan revolution is all about being proactive. It's about patching the holes before the boat even starts to sink. So, how do we get proactive? Well, that all starts with understanding that your birthday, that's not the only way to measure your age. There's another, much more important clock ticking away inside of you. And this is your biological age. It's the true measure of your health. You could be 50 years old on paper, but have the biology of a 40-year-old, or sadly, a 60-year-old. This number really shows how well your body is actually holding up at a cellular level. Now, here it is. This is probably the most empowering part of this whole explainer. You might think, oh, it's all in my genes. Nope. Turns out your genetics only account for about 20% of how you age. A massive 80% is influenced by your lifestyle and environment. That means your choices, what you eat, how you move, who you spend time with, they have a profound impact on that biological clock. So, if we want to influence that huge 80%, we have to understand what's actually happening at a microscopic level. So, let's peek under the hood at the biological machinery that drives aging, what scientists call the hallmarks of aging. You can kind of think of it in three stages. First, damage just builds up. Our DNA gets tiny errors, our proteins get misfolded, and the little cellular janitors that are supposed to clean up the mess, they get old and tired. Second, our core systems start to sputter. Our mitochondria, the power plants in our cells, they become way less efficient. And finally, communication just breaks down. The signals between cells get all garbled, which leads to this system wide decline. And one of the most, fascinating and damaging results of all this breakdown is the creation of something scientists have nicknamed zombie cells. And yes, they're just as loud as they sound. So these are basically old, damaged cells that should have been cleared out by the body, but they weren't. They refused to die, and instead they just hang around like terrible neighbors, spewing out all this inflammatory gunk that damages all the healthy, functioning cells around them. They literally make their neighbors age faster. Okay, so we've laid out the problem and we've looked at the science behind it. But the truly exciting part of this story is the solution. We are right in the middle of a health stand revolution, and the results are already starting to show. Get this. This is a stunning finding from the International Monetary Fund. On average, a person who was 70 years old in 2022 had the same cognitive ability as a 53-year-old back in the year 2000. Let that sink in. We are already pushing back against cognitive decline. We are actively adding healthy, functional life to our years. And the benefits aren't just personal, they're economic. The same research shows a direct link between better health and a more productive society. We're talking about a roughly 30% rise in earnings, a 20 percentage point increase in people staying in the workforce, and on average, people working about 6 more hours a week. A healthier population is a more productive population. It's that simple. Now let's zoom out to the big picture. This chart shows the projected difference in global GDP growth. That bar on the right, that shows that by continuing these healthy aging trends, we are on track to add nearly half a percentage point to global GDP growth every single year for the next quarter century. That's a massive economic payoff, proving that investing in Healthspan is one of the smartest things we can do. So the big question is, how do we make this healthier future a reality for everybody, not just the select few? Well, the focus is now shifting from what individuals can do to what we can all do as a society. And this quote really captures the spirit of the whole movement. This can't just be a top down thing. It's going to require all of us, individuals, communities, companies, and governments, all working together to build a society that really prioritizes well being. So, what does this look like in the real world? Well, the roadmap has three key parts. First, we have to fundamentally shift to preventive care, moving from just treating sickness to stopping it before it even starts. Second, we have to tackle the big social factors, things like housing, education, and nutrition that have a huge impact on our health. And finally, we have to invest in our collective health, giving every part of society the tools to make well being a priority. And at the end of the day, this is why it matters so much. Extending health span isn't just about cheating death or some luxury for the wealthy. It's an act of justice. It's about fairness. It's about making sure that everyone, no matter who they are or where they come from, has the opportunity to live not just a long life, but a full and healthy one. This whole evolution starts with understanding the difference between just being alive and truly living. So, the final question is for you. With this knowledge, what choices will you make starting today to not just add years to your life, but to add life to your years?